Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey Jason, Dylan Mel, John Paul Lean. Guys, September. We have less than a month left of the season. We're knocking on the door of the playoffs. Now, not much has changed in that picture on the surface since last week. Got to leave that out there. But some of these races have gotten a little tighter, where next time we talk, next week, we may have a different outlook on things. But first things first, I want to talk about something that happened that I think is really, really funny. The Dodgers, reigning world champs, twice in the past couple days, 2 times in 3 games, they've taken a no-hitter into the 9th inning and lost it. First one, Yamamoto goes 8 2/3, no-hit baseball, looking like they're going to no-hit the Orioles. Nepo baby Jackson Holiday comes up to the plate, smashes a homer. All right, that's fine. The Dodgers are still up 3-1. The Orioles come back and win. Not only do they lose the
John's Orioles.
Not only do your
My
Orioles
Orioles.
lose the no-hitter, not only do the Dodgers lose no-hitter to the Orioles come back and win it. First time in baseball history that's ever happened. And then follow that up 2 days later, they're playing the Rockies, another bottom barrel team. Glasnow goes 7, no-hit baseball. Great. Trinan follows it up, clean 8th. Going into the 9th inning, Tanner Scott, free agent gem that they brought in. He gives up a leadoff double to Ryan Ritter. Now, the Dodgers still hold on to win. They don't blow this game. But imagine your team having a no-hitter into the 9th once. Really fun. Now, doing it twice in 3 days and then losing it, that's heartbreaking. But, it is still the Dodgers. It almost feels like they deserve it for the embarrassment of riches they have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad for them. I'll say that.
Are the Dodgers though falling apart? It feels like they haven't been playing that good since the All-Star break.
No, and I feel like most of these playoff teams haven't really picked it up since then.
Yeah, 3-7 in their last 10, but still a plus 97 run differential for a team that hasn't been playing great baseball.
I think they're only up 1 game though. On
the Padres they are.
Yeah.
Now, I also want to note a couple injuries to some playoff teams. These are really impactful players. Kyle Tucker of the Cubs, in a walk year, going to be the gem, the prize of free agency after this season. He has a left calf strain. They're expecting him to hopefully return on the 16th at the earliest he could come back. That's not always a guarantee, but they're hopeful that he can come back with the minimum stay. And you got the Blue Jays losing Bo Bichette, left knee injury, had a collision with Austin Wells behind the plate. They're hoping he returns in the month of September.
It's a killer for my fantasy team.
If not, October is possible, but I don't know. It's one of those things where they just need to see how his knee heals up. I don't know if it's a contusion. They didn't really say. So like a bruise. They just said his knees hurt. So I would assume it's a pain management thing about when he can come back and if he can play the field well enough. And then you have Roman Anthony from the Red Sox, looking like the cornerstone of a franchise, the Roman Empire. He's got an oblique strain. Now, he's expected to miss the regular season. They're hopeful he can come back in the playoffs, but this is a 6-week injury. And that 6 weeks, that takes you past the wild card round and then into the divisional round. So if it's at the minimum 6 weeks, he might miss that first series, whether that's versus the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Astros, whoever it may be, whichever seed Boston ends up getting. That could be a massive blow to their chances.
Yeah, for sure. 2 AL East teams suffering big injuries. As Yankees fans, we hate to see it.
Now, with that said, with what seed the Red Sox could get, just to run through where we're looking at right now with the playoffs. Just like last week, Seattle is the 6th seed. They play Houston the 3. Boston's the 5. They play the Yankees the 4. Winner of Seattle-Houston plays 2-seeded Detroit. Winner of Yankees-Red Sox plays 1-seeded Blue Jays. NL side of things, 6-seeded Mets play the Dodgers. Winner of their series plays the Phillies, who are the 2nd seed, Dodgers being the 3rd. 5-seeded Padres play the 4-seeded Cubs. Winner of that plays the top seed Brewers. No changes, but there are some tighter races. The Dodgers are now only 1 game up, like you guys said, on the Padres for the NL West. The Mets are now 3 games up over the Giants for that 3rd wild card. About 18-ish games left to play. That's still plenty of time for things to happen there. Seattle leads the Rangers by 1.5 for the American League 3rd wild card. Houston leads Seattle by 2 and the Rangers by 3.5 for that AL West. By no means is that taken into account where all 3 of those teams have a legitimate shot at the title.
And I want to mention Houston, 4-6 in their last 10. Seattle, 4-6 in their last 10. Texas, 7-3. Run differential on the year, Houston, plus 19. Seattle, plus 34. The Rangers, plus 87. It's only a couple weeks left, but don't sleep.
You want to get hot at this time. And then Toronto now leads the Yankees by 1.5 games, 2 games now. 2 games in the AL East. So that's still very tight. Now, Toronto does have a tiebreaker over all of Seattle, Boston, Detroit, and the Yankees. The Yankees have the tiebreaker over Seattle. Boston has it over Houston, and the Yankees, Detroit has it over Houston. Houston doesn't have one over anybody yet. Seattle has one over the Rangers and the Tigers. Texas has it over Boston. And then on the National League side of things, the Phillies only have the tiebreaker over the Cubs right now. The Mets have it over the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Phillies. Brewers have it over only the Dodgers and Phillies. The Dodgers only have it over San Fran right now. Cubs only Milwaukee and the Dodgers. San Diego only has the tiebreaker over the Cardinals. And the Giants currently have a tiebreaker over nobody. With all that said, let's play a little game where ChatGPT is going to predict the playoffs because we had no change from last week. So let's play with some artificial intelligence and see how that wants to predict things going.
All right, so I got it pulled up on my computer. I won't bother making Corey or John squint on the StreamYard stream at this point to try and read it. I got it on the monitor, boys. Looks like we're going to be going through the American League first here. The wild card series, the 3-seed Astros versus the 6-seed Mariners. Prediction, Astros win in 3. Correa and Yordan Alvarez anchored the offense. Mariners' Jorge Polanco revives his postseason hopes with timely hits and solid defense, but the pitching edge stays with Houston. AI looking pretty good in that first series, if you ask me. Then the 4-seed Yankees host the 5-seed Red Sox. Prediction, Yankees sweep. Believe it or not, Yankees bullpen trio, Bednar, Bird.
Bird's going to play.
Duvall shuts down Boston. Peyton Tolly gets some early postseason experience, but isn't enough to overcome the firepower and depth of New York.
I don't know if Tolly's actually eligible for the postseason.
And as a Yankees fan, Bird is not eligible for my postseason. So we went from anybody could predict the Astros to beat the Mariners. And then we moved to the ALDS, 1 Blue Jays versus 4 Yankees. Prediction, Blue Jays 3-1 to the ALCS. Toronto's rotation, Scherzer, Gausman, Bieber, assuming his return, shuts the door. Guerrero and Springer deliver clutch hits. As a Yankees fan, I can totally see it happening. And in the big 2025, seeing Scherzer, Gausman, and Bieber as the rotation to send a team to the CS is just quite entertaining to me. Then we move to the Tigers versus the Astros. Prediction, Astros 3-2. Key performers, Detroit's bullpen strengthened by Finnegan and Sewald, but Houston's postseason medal sparked by Correa and Tucker.
Tucker isn't there. He's hurt. On the club.
It's interesting that this thing knows that Duvall and Bird are on the Yankees, and Scherzer, Gosman, and Bieber are on the Blue Jays, but somehow
And the Correa is back on the Astros.
And you even went back and specifically asked it to use
Yeah.
like the updated rosters, and it's still.
And maybe there's a new Tucker that we don't know about that's going to get pulled up to the roster. ALCS, Blue Jays, Astros. Any early predictions from you guys as to where ChatGPT lands on this?
ALCS MVP Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I got to pick the Astros here. It sounds like they got the 2017 Astros playing. So, and there we go. A prediction: Astros 4-2. Astros bullpen depth and experienced bats like Correa, Alvarez once again deliver. Blue Jays rotation keeps them alive, but not enough. How do we feel about these AL predictions? I think that there was some wildness in there, but I do think we got to the right conclusion if I were to predict it right now.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most fair assumption coming out of this.
I mean, how we got there may have not been very likely, but I think we got the right outcome anyway.
Yeah, so the Astros head to the World Series. Let's go to the National League wild card. 3 Dodgers, 6 Mets. Prediction: Dodgers 2-1. Dodgers depth prevails despite their injury concerns. Ohtani is a threat both at the plate and on the mound. They're letting Ohtani pitch in these playoffs. That's a bold choice. Mets' youthful trio of McLean, Tong, and Sproat make things interesting. See, this is what I mean. The ChatGPT knows about Tong and Sproat, but doesn't know that Kyle Tucker's on the Cubs. I'm real interested to see what they say about the Cubs right here, because they have the Cubs winning 2-1 over the Padres. Cubs pitching staff now boosted with Kittredge and Rogers neutralized Tatis and Machado. That'd be the day. Kittredge and Taylor Rogers neutralized Tatis and Machado. I'm not saying that the prediction couldn't happen, but
not what I have on my my bingo board.
Yeah, NLDS, Brewers, Cubs, Brewers 3-1. Reese Hoskin returns and provides pop. Yelich stays healthy, and Milwaukee's pitching remains consistently excellent. Phillies, Dodgers, Phillies.
I do want to note that Christian Yelich staying healthy is a massive key. Hoskins returns and provides pop, and Yelich just stays healthy. That's all they need.
Prediction: 3-2 Phillies win. Bader adds spark in the outfield. Harper and Schwarber run hot. Wheeler's back. And Suarez hold down the fort in key starts, edging out Dodger injuries. So Harrison Bader and Zach Wheeler, the heroes of the Phillies DS win over the Dodgers.
Wheeler pops up like the Undertaker, just ready to go.
NLCS, Brewers, Phillies. Here we go, John.
Let's
The
see.
Phillies win in 7. A classic dual series. Burns versus Wheeler. Harper's clutch hits.
Burns?
And Schwarber's power.
Burns? What year is this?
Oh, man. Everybody, your job is...
They have Reese
safe.
Hoskins, but they have Corbin Burns.
I mean, it's been
Wheeler's back.
years?
It's so amazing that
But the Phillies have
AI knows about Harrison Bader and Rogers and Duvall and
Tong and Sproat.
and Tong and Sproat, but we're still living in a world where Corbin Burns is on the Brewers and Kyle Tucker's on the Astros. All right then, the World Series. We have the Phillies and Astros. Phillies win in 6.
Wow.
Why Phillies? With Bader, Harper, and Schwarber providing firepower, a rotation buoyed by a Wheeler Suarez, Philadelphia overmatches Houston. Astros show grip, but the Phillies deliver, clinching in Game 6. Bryce Harper, your World Series MVP. And there you go, notable contributors. Harrison Bader made it to the list. The postseason hero, Harrison Bader. You love to see that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that is ChatGPT at its finest.
What was each of your favorite ChatGPT inserts?
I mean, I think my favorite was Cubs pitching staff with Kittredge and Rogers neutralized Tatis and Machado. I think that was my favorite ChatGPT sentence from there. Although I did love the Burns and Tucker shout-outs.
Yeah, I gotta go Burns for myself just because it's been 2 years. And like Tucker, sure, it's been an off season. It was last year he was there. This has been 2 years. Was it 2 teams ago he was on the Brewers?
Yeah.
So like
again, AI is fun and great for things like this, but just remember, AI is really bad with sports too, because what AI does is pulls, I believe it's like 70% of their information from Reddit, meaning like in Brewer subreddits, Corbin Burns has probably talked about a ton. I think that's just probably what that
Christian
means.
Yelich having to stay healthy.
Yeah. That was great. Yelich stays healthy.
I can just imagine just the Brewers subreddit. Just if Yelich stays healthy, we're gonna win. If he stays healthy, we're gonna win. All Yelich has to do is stay healthy. AI
is a powerful tool, but I don't think it's taken.
I think
over the
what
world
makes
yet.
it worse is like we put it in the first time, and then you asked it again to use like the current rosters because it was and it still screwed up. And then I did it, and it wasn't even predicting all the series. It was like skipping the divisional round and going straight to the championship.
Peeling back the curtain, I originally asked for a playoff bracket, and it had 4 Yankees, 5 Red Sox again, and the key storyline was Garrett Cole dominates Game 1 with 10 plus Ks. Juan Soto's bat is the difference in Game 2. Boston's lineup struggles against New York's bullpen depth. So, they didn't quite have that. In the ALDS, they did have the Blue Jays winning again, but based on Alek Manoah being a star pitching, they had Kyle Tucker again on the Astros looking through this. Let's see. Anything else crazy here? Cody Bellinger on the Cubs. A big go-ahead home run in Game 3 at Wrigley as the Cubs beat the Padres. Christian Yelich continues his comeback season. They love Christian.
To mention
the Phillies. They had Zach Wheeler out dueling Ohtani in Game 5. The prediction stayed exactly the same, by the way.
So I wonder if
Phillies NLCS, Blue Jays Astros ALCS, and they also had Phillies over Astros in World Series 4-2.
So what if you ask
Harper MVP
and update the players? Say, hey, Tucker's not there.
What if you put it like use like at the MLB like as of today, today kind of thing?
Like I wonder if the Cubs win their series if ChatGPT knows that Tucker's on the Cubs, not the Astros.
Yeah, I'll say Kyle Tucker is on the Cubs. Corbin Burns. Please use today's MLB rosters. This podcast is unhinged, but here we are. I mean, you're absolutely. I told it about Kyle Tucker, and it goes, "You're absolutely right. Let's get some things accurate."
You are absolutely
right.
Let's reset. Let's reset and redo. Yes, let's reset and redo. Let's see if. I'm going to read through and see if ChatGPT is a little bit sarcastic. As we get to the wild card round, Astros roster notes, no Tucker. Lineup leans on Yordan. Let me put my screen back up here. That way you guys could see the attitude that ChatGPT is providing here. Yeah. No Tucker. Lineup leans on Yordan Alvarez Altuve. And the Mariners won this time, by the way. Without Kyle Tucker, the Astros are out immediately. Garrett Cole still dominates Game 1, and Juan Soto, I guess they reverted back to thinking that Juan Soto.
Well, we still got Doval and Bednar on the Yankees.
We got an ultimate team now. Blue Jays Mariners, they reseeded the bracket too. That was interesting of them. Blue Jays won. The Yanks, though, back to the ALCS with Judge and Soto. Those were the days. The Yankees back to the World Series. Soto earns ALCS MVP with a .400 batting average, 3 home runs. Judge a decisive homer in Game 7.
This is the timeline. It's so.
This is what I'm loving. Dodgers beat the Mets. Ohtani goes full superstar. Game 1, 7-inning pitch. Gem in Game 3. Cubs did win with Kyle Tucker, even without Tucker at 100%. But Bellinger's back on the squad. Oh man, what do we got here? NLCS, Cubs, Phillies. Oh, we got a Phillies-Yankees World Series in make-believe land. Which one of our teams gets it done? The Phillies still win in Bryce Harper, no matter what the rosters are. ChatGPT is 3 for 3, a certified Phillies fan and a certified Bryce Harper fan.
It really likes Zach Wheeler too.
Jeez, AI.
Yeah, that is special right there. No matter which way you go, no matter what rosters, the Yankees could have a super team of Soto, Cole, Judge, Bednar, and Oval in the bullpen, and they still can't beat the Phillies. That's really funny. I guess we don't have to worry about ChatGPT and AI really stealing our jobs or anything, right?
Oh, man. I hope not.
But let's go on now. Let's go talk about our studs and duds, because I know there's a couple Astros and maybe even a future World Series MVP on our list. For me, Nationals outfielder Dalen Lyle, in 5 games, 22 at-bats. He's got 9 hits, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. He's hitting .409 with a 1.253 OPS. For a guy that I know most people have not heard of, he's going to have to start making a name for himself if he can keep this up.
Yep.
My dud, though, Astros outfielder Jose Altuve, 5 games, 20 at-bats. He's got a singular hit, a singular RBI, 6 strikeouts. He's hitting .050, and his OPS is .274. It might be time to hang him up.
My stud is another member of the Houston Astros, and of course, as he's back healthy now and the Astros look to go on another World Series run, who is Yordan Alvarez, batting .500 over the last week, 11 for 22, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, a 1.406 OPS. My dud, according to ChatGPT, is a 3-time World Series MVP, but over the last 7 days, he has not been playing like it. Bryce Harper batting .125, 3 for his last 24, with a .484 OPS in that stretch.
My stud this week is going to be San Francisco Giant third baseman Matt Chapman, 9 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, batting .409. Big part about, the Giants, catching up to the Mets here in the wild card, as they're only 3 games back. So maybe he can keep it up and they can catch up even more. My dud, Angels left fielder Taylor Ward, 2 hits, 1 RBI, batting .100. I mean, you're on the Angels. Why even care? Just, I feel like every year you think they're going to do better and like it's going to be their year, and it never is.
I saw an interesting stat that said Ted Williams played more games during World War II than Anthony Rendon will have played during his whole Angels contract.
That's insane.
Ted Williams served during World War II and missed about 2 seasons.
That's insane work.
Now let's do a little team talk. Ben's not here, so let's start off with the Mets. Since last week, they're 2-4, and 1-1 versus Detroit, 1-2 versus Cincinnati. They had lost yesterday to the Phillies. I believe they're currently losing as we record this.
They're down 9-2 in the top of the 9th.
Never say never, right?
I mean, we'll talk about the Yankees in a second, but yeah, it's certainly possible to put up, 9 runs in an inning.
So
I think the Mets did it before when they played the Phillies a few years ago.
The Mets also are the only team in baseball, I believe, without a 9th inning comeback this season. The Mets are 76-68 on the season. In their last 10, they are 4-6. They're 8 games back of the Phillies. 3 up on San Fran for that 3rd wild card. 3 back of San Diego for that 2nd wild card. 5 back of the Cubs for that 1st. The Mets are struggling. A lot of uncompetitive at-bats. Their catcher, Francisco Alvarez, game on the line yesterday. just whiffed at 3 pitches way out of the zone. I don't know what's going on with the Mets. They're a talented team. The young pitching they have is superb. It just seems like once things started to click together, they just fell apart.
Yeah, the Mets have been a team of ups and downs throughout this season. I think some of it could be attributed to their just kind of lack of strong starting pitching, as well as a lineup that was going through and finding its groove. The Mets, to me, feel like they're pretty much locked into the 6th wild card spot at this point. Never say never, but I don't expect San Francisco or the Reds to make a full comeback at this point. San Francisco is 7-3 in their last 10, so maybe some juice there, but the Mets are, to me, a one-and-done playoff team at this point in time. But again, we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point. There's a long runway on this Soto window, but this isn't the year.
Now the Phillies, 4-2 since last week. They split with Milwaukee after taking game 1 of that. They went 2-1 versus the Marlins, won yesterday versus the Mets, winning now 84-60. They've secured a winning season. Last 10, they are 7-3. Like I said just a few seconds ago, they are 8 up on the Mets. They're 5.5 games behind Milwaukee for the top seed. And then they are also 4 up on the Dodgers for that 2 seed. So it seems like they're locked into that 2nd seed in the NL. You know, it takes a massive collapse, plus the Dodgers or Padres having a big end of year to overtake the Phillies. And it needs the Brewers to collapse and the Phillies to play extremely well just to overtake them for that 1 seed. So they're locked into getting that bye for more or less. They're pretty much there. John, how has it been feeling right now? How are the vibes?
I mean, pretty good. I mean, it's a little worrying now because you have Turner going on the 10-day IL with a right hamstring strain, I believe, and I think Boehm is also on the 10-day IL with the left shoulder inflammation. So that's a little worrying, especially the Turner injury there, because he's been a huge part for this, piece for this team this season. And, if he's out and not healthy and good to go for the playoffs, that's going to hurt. I'm not too worried about not having him for the rest of the regular season because I think, they're in a really good spot now to at least, they're going to win the NL East, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they're, 8 games up on the Mets right now. I think they should
about 18
win tonight. Should win tonight. I mean, you had Schwarber get his 50th home run this year. You had Ranger Suarez career high 12 strikeouts tonight. I mean, they're looking good. I mean, Nola pitched clean. I think pitched 6 innings of shutout baseball yesterday too with 7 strikeouts. I mean, they're looking really good. I mean, even with all of it and the injuries and stuff, they're looking really good. So
this Phillies pitching banding together after the Zach Wheeler injury is so unbelievably massive for them. They have so many different guys that are stepping up in different ways. Luzardo leads the team in wins. Playoff Ranger looks like he's here early. Christopher Sanchez has a 2.6 ERA. Duran's obviously been the guy that they needed as a closer. Strom's been a really solid hold pitcher. Like, the Phillies pitching staff has really started to figure it out and click against bad teams, against good teams. I loved what I've been seeing from them. Bryce Harper's been playing bad, and yet this team still has the best record of any team in baseball over the last 10 games. So I'm moving Philly back up into my Tier 1 World Series contenders. I moved them down post the Zach Wheeler injury. I was a little nervous, especially with the Dodgers and how loaded their roster is. But what I've been seeing from the Dodgers and what I've been seeing from the Phillies, I'm willing to move Philly back up to a Tier 1 World Series contender.
Now the Yankees. I was coming into today saying the vibes were high. Vibes are no longer high to me.
I mean, one game.
We'll get there, though, but they are 4-2 since last week. In this tough stretch that, Dylan, you've really been talking about for now a couple weeks.
Yep.
I told you they were going to go 2-1 versus Houston and 2-1 versus Toronto at this point.
Sign me up for it.
I would have told you that you're crazy for even thinking that was a possibility. Because I just didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think it had a remote chance to happen. They are 80-63. One more win, they secure a 500 season. Two more, they secure their winning season. And they've had a winning season every year since 1992. 93, I should say.
Yep.
92 was the last time they had a losing season. And coincidentally, that was the last time, that was when they drafted Jeter. So since they drafted Derek Jeter, the Yankees have not had a losing season.
Yeah, and I don't expect them to this year.
No, I mean, that would be the most ultimate.
That'd be catastrophic. The Yankees, they've impressed me. And I know that tonight's game, as the night we're recording Tuesday night, they're going to lose by probably double digits to the Tigers. It's 11-2 after a seventh inning collapse that we saw.
They were 2-2. The score was 2-2 going into the seventh.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible, but I do want to focus bigger picture still and not get caught up in the emotions of tonight's terrible loss. Again, 4-2 versus Houston and Toronto. You'll take that.
7-3 in their last 10.
Yep, also tied for the best in baseball over that stretch. No team in baseball 8-2 in the last 10. A couple of 7-3 teams. And listen, at the end of the day, an 11-2 loss counts the same in the loss column as a 3-2 loss. Maybe you go get the next two versus Detroit. But if you lose the series to Detroit, we'll talk about Boston in a little bit. But if you told me that in that stretch of Houston, Toronto, Detroit, and Boston, the Yankees were going to win 3 of those 4 series even, I would have signed up for that, no problem. And of all the teams, Detroit being where they are, probably the least concerning team to beat, I would say. Toronto and Boston, obviously, in your division that you're trying to win up at the top. And then Houston, where you could be pushing to compete with them for a 2 or a 3 spot if you win your division. I'm here for it. I think that the Yankees have been playing solid baseball. Max Fried, over his last couple starts, is really getting back to Max Fried from the beginning of the year. Rodon is solid. Bednar has really emerged as the closer for this team. Judge, his bat has been rolling. He's finally back out in the field. It hasn't been pushing the arm too much. We'll see how things go there. But the lineup is still, on paper, the best in the AL, potentially. You could compete with Houston. I would take the Yankees, but
Tucker or Tuckerless Houston.
I feel good about where the Yankees are at despite the game today. If you had we talked about it ad nauseum like a week or so ago, but I didn't see them winning multiple series in this upcoming stretch of those 4 big series that we talked about, and they've already won 2. Yeah. So even if they, as long as if they lose a series, they lose 1-2 to Detroit, I don't want to see a sweep.
No,
but if they lose 1-2, I don't want to see them lose to Boston. But even if they went 500 in this stretch, we said we would have signed up for it a week ago.
Yeah, but that always changes. It's what have you done for me?
Yeah.
The Yankees are 2 back at Toronto, like we said earlier. They're only 1 up on Boston for that second wild card. So that series this weekend is going to be insane, classic Yankees, Red Sox. It just shows that why this will be the biggest rivalry in baseball history.
And the Yankees, I don't want to say have to win the first 2 games of that series, but Sunday night baseball is Will Warren versus Garrett Crochet, which is the 3rd game of that series.
Yeah, no, let's win those first 2 games. We are 4.5 up on Seattle for that 3rd wild card, 6 up on Texas, who is the next team out.
And then again, you finish the year with Minnesota, Baltimore, Chicago, Baltimore.
The Yankees have a little bit of cushion. They're going to likely be a playoff team. And I think even at the lowest, we both kind of said that they're going to make the playoffs. And it's just a matter of how much noise they do make. And for most of the season, the Yankees and the Mets pretty much had the same record, were the same games back. They were the same team. The Yankees have kind of surpassed the Mets slightly at the very least, to the point where you said the Mets were a one-and-done playoff team. Do you feel the same about the Yankees?
I think opponent's going to play a pretty big role in my confidence level there. If, say, Houston were to fall to the 4 and the Yankees were the 5, or I don't know if I'd pick New York over Houston in a playoff series right now. We did just see them win that. The series with Boston's going to tell me a lot, man. The series with Boston is going to tell me a lot. What does this team do in Fenway over a weekend series, biggest series of the season?
I'm having deja vu because I feel like we've said this series this weekend versus Boston is going to tell us a lot.
Well, we're almost out of time, so this one definitely is the last chance. I mean, because the series versus Minnesota, Baltimore, Chicago, Baltimore isn't going to, like, sure, I guess if they lose all those games, it would tell me something, but
yeah,
I think I'm going to end up believing in this team to win a playoff series. I'd be nervous for whenever they run into Houston. I can't lie there. I'd be pretty pessimistic just off of Yankee scar tissue of facing the Astros in the playoffs. But they have a greater than 0% shot to make a World Series run.
Yeah, and I mean, we were saying it last year how it feels like the Yankees need to beat Houston in the playoffs, exercise those demons, because this wasn't just, 2020, the 2020s or 2017. This goes all the way back to 2015 in Masahiro Tanaka's first career playoff start, the one-game wild card versus Houston where they knocked us out. Back before anybody even really knew who Jose Altuve was. Dallas Keuchel was on the mound for the Astros then. Like,
what a name.
This has been a long time coming for the Yankees and the Astros, for the Yankees to flip that narrative on its head. And I do think that if the Yankees are going to win a World Series, whether it's this year, next year, ever, they need to beat this iteration of the Astros because, one, it'll make it that much sweeter, and two, it feels like you really did earn it.
Do you worry about, in the NFL, I would comp this to Bills Chiefs, right? Where everybody knows Buffalo's a good team, but Kansas City gets them every time. If the Yankees face off with Houston in an ALDS, ALCS, and won, is there a letdown of we did it, but that's not it? like we finally got over that hump, but then that's not the hump. Like that's not the title.
No, you might spend all that.
Like part of me wonders if they'd be better off not playing Houston and not validating that sense of success off of what's not the World Series.
I guess the way I look at it is because we did see the Yankees on a World Series losing run last year, is that the best way to play the Astros would be to face them in the ALCS because you get a World Series feel right before hopefully going to the World Series.
And a break.
Right. So, like, the emotions are high. You win that big series. You feel like you can beat anybody once you beat them.
Although, the way the standings are, it feels virtually impossible to get to those standings at this point in time. I mean, a lot would have to happen.
No, not at all. Because they don't reseed.
No, I know. That's exactly why. The
Yankees are on pace. Yankees, Red Sox.
I guess right now, if things stayed exactly as they are, it could happen.
Right.
If the Yankees overtook the division, then things get a little difficult. Depending on what Detroit does.
Right. If Detroit stays at the 2.
I guess it's not impossible, but
I think it's more likely than not if the Yankees either win the division or come in the 4 seed.
It's tough to pencil it in, but the Yankees do have the second best run differential in baseball at plus 140. It's hard to look at that number and not think that this team has the potential. They have the overall best offense in baseball this season in terms of runs scored.
And then part of that is Aaron Judge, who I did want to mention, surpassed Yogi Berra for the first time since the 1950s.
Yep.
The Yankees' top 5 home run list has changed. Judge sits alone, and now he's only a few homers shy of knocking down DiMaggio.
I saw, and it's just a random question for you, but somebody asked if Aaron Judge would be a Yankee Mount Rushmore. And do you think he has to win a World Series to enter that plethora?
I think he does need to win a World Series, and I'm going to cut him some slack. Just one.
Yeah, he has to win at least one to get on. Yeah, and it's a Yankee list.
Right. And now the Yankees Mount Rushmore, it's tough because how do you weigh new versus old? Like, there's arguments that hold Derek Jeter off of Yankees Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I think for me,
like, who do you take off to put Judge on? And no matter what you do, it's going to sound crazy. Like, do you take off Yogi Berra?
I think mine's going to, like you said, there's just so many greats and some of it obviously, some of this is going to be biased to what I grew up watching. So before some historian kills me in the comment section, I'm fully willing to admit that. For me, Ruth, Mantle, Jeter, Rivera. Good luck.
But I don't think, as long as your list includes Ruth, Mantle, Jeter, Rivera, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Berra, as long as it has those guys in there, you can add in a Whitey Ford.
Judge is also now once again the favorite to win MVP, by the way.
Yes, and Judge deserves to be in that conversation. That
you got to win.
Can't be wrong when you make your Mount Rushmore with those guys, but you need a ring to do it.
And you also, for Judge, what'd you do in October? I mean, not MVP numbers.
No, but somehow, surprisingly, he is pretty high on the October home run list. But that's also because of the sheer amount of games he has played.
Yep.
But let's highlight some games because I want to talk about that Yankees-Red Sox series a little bit more. Yep. That's going to be the series I think you want to highlight, right?
Yeah, that's my weekly series highlight. The Yankees travel to Fenway over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday matchup versus the Boston Red Sox. Ultimately, this is probably the most important series of the season for both teams, I would say. Could certainly determine who ends up getting home field advantage in a wild card matchup between these two teams. Friday, Luis Gil versus Lucas Giolito. Saturday, Max Fried versus Brian Bayo. Sunday, Will Warren versus Garrett Crochet. Sunday Night Baseball, too.
The Yankees don't do well on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, that's why I said I think the Yankees need to win on Friday and Saturday.
This is going to be either a really fun weekend or a really, really rough weekend that really makes you reconsider a lot of things.
Not a bold prediction, but a prediction. Giancarlo Stanton has a monster weekend.
Does he get hit by a ball thrown from over the top of the Green Monster?
They'll try.
Wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
They'll miss, though.
They'll miss.
Yeah.
The series I want to highlight is the Rangers at the Mets. Rangers really close to a playoff spot. One of the few teams on the outside looking in that we're taking seriously. The Mets, a team that should make the playoffs, but a bad week, 2 weeks to end the year. They might be the one that's falling out of favor. The Mets are one of the only teams that I think has a legitimate shot of not making the playoffs. Now I believe projections have them at about a 92-93% chance of making it. But like my fantasy teams have seen over the last couple of days, having a 92-93% chance doesn't secure anything because the Ravens defense will get minus 7 points, or Josh Allen goes off. So those numbers, those projections mean nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like somebody is hurt. And
I didn't lose by 0.1 because of the Ravens defense.
We're here for you if you need after the pod. But I'm excited. I think the Rangers can make a run.
My weekly series highlight is gonna be another Mets series. It's gonna be Padres at Mets. I mean, like Corey said, bad stretch here. Mets can fall out of the playoff picture here. I mean, you have the Mets. The Mets are 3 games behind the Padres in the wild card right now. You have the Padres are a game behind the Dodgers. I mean, Mets are, only 3 games up in the third wild card spot right now. I mean, I think their chances of winning the NL East are pretty much done after tonight here. But, I mean, this series could shake up the playoff picture here depending on how it goes.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks for the Mets that could make or break their season because if they win both these series, they're in pretty good shape to end the year. But if they go, they lose both series, or if they get swept in both, or even swept in one and lose the other, things are really, really different. And it gets really close to crunch time to the point where we start to wonder how they'll deal with a lot of this pressure. Last year we saw them come down to the end of the season. It was the Mets, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks who basically had to play continuous playoff games during the regular season to end it. and the Braves are the ones that were, on the outside looking in. Could we see that again with the Mets and the Giants? The Reds are still technically alive. They're there. So it really depends on how the Mets do and if these young pitchers can step up.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts on anything from the past week?
Super excited for Yankees, Boston. I think Toronto slips out of that 1 seed for sure. Whether it's Detroit that has it or the Yankees, I think it'll be one of those 2 teams that's the 1 seed in the AL. I think that the Mets hold on. I do surprisingly think the Texas Rangers will make the playoffs over the Seattle Mariners. That's my surprise prediction.
I had a friend text me yesterday. He said, if the Yankees and Mets are playing each other in the Bronx, if the Yankees and Red Sox, are playing each other in the Bronx in the playoffs, me and him have to go. He's a Red Sox fan. But I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game with him this year and happened to be one of the ones that the Yankees won.
Nice. Yes, do it. Good luck, John. Bring it.
I'm starting to think I might have to.
Absolutely. And according to ChatGPT, the Phillies are winning the World Series, and Bryce Harper is going to be World Series MVP. 3 for 3.
Zach Wheeler comes back from the dead.
And Kyle Tucker's on the Astros. My own personal hell.
Juan Soto leads the Yankees to the World Series.
Hey.
Jake Bird chokes it away. But that's going to do it for us. Corey, Jason, John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel. We'll be back next week. Yankees will have the softest schedule I've ever seen to end the year. Starting next episode, Mets, Phillies. Still a lot of baseball left to be played, but that's going to do it here for us. Tune in next week to the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast.